Students, my name is Professor Pritesh Veera and I have been teaching economics for the last 10 years. Today we are going to discuss something called as national income. I am sure we all have heard about it, yes or no? So beta, whenever you hear the word national income, what is that one thing which comes in your mind? Chalo, let us start one by understanding each of these two words. Let us first start with income. Beta, income is anything which comes in. So, your mother giving you pocket money is your income. Me earning here by taking lectures is my income. So beta, as I told you that income is nothing else but anything that comes in. Now, income can be divided into two parts. Either you get earned income or you get unearned income. Now, whenever we talk about earned income, it is for production of goods and services. So, basically, can I say I am providing a service by providing a lecture, and for that I am going to get the money. Now, that income which I am earning for the production of goods or services is called as earned income. You can also name this income as economic income. Why economic income? Because I am involved in an economic activity, and you can say that it is a two-way transaction. Now, what do you mean by a two-way transaction? Beta, I am giving the services and in return I am getting the money. So, it is a two-way transaction. And whenever we talk about earned income, it is earned by the factors of production. Why factors of production? Because they work, because they contribute in the form of landlord, laborer, capitalist or an entrepreneur. I am sure we all know what are factors of production. Yes or no? Chalo, I'll revise. What are factors of production? Land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. All of them are considered as factors of production. The next one is unearned income. Now, what do you mean by unearned income? Unearned income is not for production of goods and services. It is out of love, care, and affection. So, when your mother gives you some pocket money, can I say it is out of love, care, and affection? Yes or no? So, this income is not called as an economic income but a transfer income. And over here there is just one way transaction. I repeat, it is just a one way transaction because you are not creating any good, you are not creating any service, but yet you have the flow of money coming in. So beta, income can be classified into two parts, earned and unearned. Earned is for production of goods and services, whereas unearned is out of love, care and affection. Whenever we give another name to earned income, it is an economic income, productive income. But unearned income is a non-economic income, transfer income or for unproductive activities. Earned income will always be a two-way transaction, whereas unearned income will always be a one-way transaction. So I hope I am clear with that. Now let us go to the next part. Alright. Now what are we supposed to understand next? We are going to understand the concept of national. As you saw, there were two words. One was income, other was national. We have already understood what is income. Now let us shift our focus to the word national. Can I say that national word comes from nation? So I have a doubt. Can you all tell me what is the difference between country, nation, and an economy? Or all of them are same? Chalo, tell me, what is the difference between a country, a nation, a economy? Sir, all are the same only. India is my country, India is my nation, India is my economy. Can you say that? Is it practically correct? Is it correct? The answer is no. So, a country is nothing else but a geographical boundary. I am really sorry, this is how much I know to draw India. Can I say this is India's geographical boundary? So that's how you define it. Okay, I'll just write it properly. So whenever you hear the word country, country is the geographical boundary of the nation. Now, when you hear the geographical boundary, it is nothing else but the figure of the nation. How does our nation look like? What are the geographical boundaries? That is what we call it as a country. Now, what makes a country to a nation? It is its population. So, when you talk about the population in the country, it becomes a nation. So in the country I am adding the population and it has become my nation. Country plus population, if is nation, then what is an economy? Can I say that these people will interact with each other, transact with each other? So there will be economic transactions, there will be monetary dealings. So whenever there is a monetary dealing in the economy, it becomes an economy. So let me clear it out. What is a country, beta? Country is the geographical boundary. In a country, who lives? It's the people who live. So country plus population becomes the nation. In this nation, there will be certain monetary transactions, economic transactions that will give birth to an economy. So now students, we have very clearly understood what? National as well as income. What is national income? It is the income of the nation. Hey, yes or no? Let me clarify it even further. When I take lectures for a particular institute, are they paying me? Yes. So it becomes an individual's income or a person's income. Yes or no? So if I am taking lectures, I will get paid and that will be my income. But in my family, there are 4 people and all the 4 of them are working. So, can I say that that will become my family's income? If I go and earn, it is my individual's income. If a couple of members or 3 members in my family are going and working, it will be my family's income. Then, can I say there can be company's income as well? JK Shah Classes is a company, Reliance is a company. All these companies are also earning an income. Similarly, a nation will also earn income. But the question is, sir, you earn income because you go and you work. Your family earns income because your family is going to work and earning. Does a nation go to work? No. Nation is made up of people and those people go to work. So, can I say national income is the income of the people of the nation? Because the country does not go to work. The nation does not go to work. But the people who reside in that country, they go, work, contribute, create goods and services and therefore they are rewarded by an income. So my dear students, what is national income? It is the income of the nation. How does nation get an income? Does nation go to work? No. Nation is made out of people, and these people go to work. Now, when they go to work, they work as a landlord, a laborer, capitalist, or an entrepreneur. Therefore, they get rent, wages, interest, profit in the form of factor payments. It is the reward for their work. So, because they created goods and services, they got a reward in the form of an income. And can I say that one man's expenditure is another man's income? If JK Shah is giving me the money, it is their expenditure, my income. I give this money to a shopkeeper, it is my expenditure, his income. The shopkeeper gives this money to his wife. Is this one man's expenditure, another man's income? No. Can I say it is a transfer payment? Why? Because a husband giving money to the wife is out of love, care, affection. No, out of fear. No, that was a joke. Can I say that the money given by the husband to the wife is out of love, care and affection, therefore it is a transfer income. So the whole context of explaining this thing is nothing else but if there is an income, there will be an expenditure. And why is there income? Why is there an expenditure? Because there is an output. So income is equal to expenditure is equal to the value of output. So my dear students, I hope you all are absolutely clear with the concept of national income. Now, let us go to the next concept, which is by the name economic growth and economic development. Now, can you all tell me what is the difference between economic growth and economic development, or both of them are the same? No, my dear students, growth and development are not the same. Whenever you talk about growth, my dear students, growth is always quantitative. I repeat, growth is always quantitative, whereas development is qualitative. Now, what is the difference between quantitative and qualitative? But a quantitative means that there should be a rise in output, whereas qualitative could mean there should be rise in the quality of life, or you can say standard of living. So my dear students, if ever you come across a question, what is economic growth, what is economic development, then you should say economic growth is nothing else but the rise in output. Higher the output, higher the economic growth. Lower the output, lower the economic growth. So we have always heard that India grows at certain percentage, 5% economic growth, 7% economic growth, 2% economic growth. What is economic growth? It is nothing else but the rise in output, my dear students. So the next question is, then what is economic development? Economic development is economic growth plus the welfare of the people. So dear students, whenever you use the term economic development, development is a broader term as compared to growth, because economic development not only consists of economic growth but it also consists of welfare. So when there is economic growth plus when there is welfare, it becomes economic development. So the question is, sir, how can you define welfare? I may probably not be in a position to define welfare, but most certainly there are certain parameters on which we can see whether the country receives the welfare or not. For example, there will be a welfare in the economy if there is increase in literacy rate, if there is increase in employment rate, if there is a reduction in unemployment rate, if there is a reduction in poverty, if there is a reduction in mortality rate. So beta, can I say these are the indicators of welfare? So beta, the second concept that I taught you was economic growth and economic development. Growth and development are not the same. Growth is qualitative or quantitative? Yes, it is quantitative. Whereas development is qualitative. Development is nothing else but economic growth, that is rise in output plus the welfare of the people. Now, can I say that we need to measure our economic growth, and economic growth can also be termed as national income. Now, national income is the money valuation of goods and services produced in an economy in a period of a particular financial year. So, beta, national income is nothing else but price into quantity. Why price into quantity? Because we have to find out the money valuation of all the goods and services produced. So, for example, in the year 2010, the prices, the average prices of all the commodities was 1000. The units were 100. So, beta, the national income will be 1 lakh. Now, we move forward, fast track to the year 2021. I am giving you two options, option A and option B. Price multiplied by quantity will give you national income. Let us assume that the price is 1000 and the quantity, okay, just a second, let us assume that the prices have increased and the prices are 1500, quantity is 100. So your national income is 1,50,000. Yes or no? And I'll give you an alternative option of prices remaining constant and output increasing, resulting into the same national income. Now in option A also, in option B also, our national income is 1,50,000. So is it okay if either of the options is chosen? Is it okay if we choose option A? Is it okay if we choose option B? Say yes or no. Bolo bolo, yes or no. Now my dear students, if you all have chosen option number B, then your answer is absolutely correct. Ekdam lovely. Because option A, you can very clearly see that the prices are rising and the output is remaining constant. So don't you think that A option gives us the false growth, because it is inflated? When the prices rise, it is inflation, and therefore I will name this as false growth. Why it is a false growth? Because the prices have risen and the quantity has remained constant. But we all know we can achieve growth only with the rise in output. So beta, in this case, have we achieved growth? No, because in 2010 also the quantity was 100. In 2021 also the quantity is 100. That means in these years the output has not increased. A yes or no? And because the output has not increased, I am terming this as a false growth. I will select option B. Reasons very clear. Prices are constant, output is rising. So number one, there is no inflationary trend. Number two, the output has increased. If output increases, economic growth will increase. Higher the output, higher the economic growth. If output is increasing, our national income has also increased from 1 lakh to 1,50,000, and not due to the rise in price, but due to the rise in output. So beta, this growth is called as real growth. So how many types of growth are there? Two. One is the false growth, the other is named as the real growth. What is the difference between false growth and real growth? False growth is caused because of the rise in prices, whereas real growth is caused because of the rise in output. And my dear students, that is exactly the difference between false growth and real growth. Moving ahead, the next concept. Now, we all know that national income is equal to price into quantity. Yes or no? Can I write that national income is equal to price into quantity? So, the question is, at what prices should we consider national income? Because there can be two types of prices. One, it can be current year, which is also known as a base year, and the other is called as, okay, current year. Just a second, this is the current year, or you can write it as base year or constant year. So first of all, we need to understand what is current year, what is base year. Current year is the year in which you are living. 2021 is a current year. Then the question arises, what is a base year or a constant year? It is some previous year. I repeat, base year is some previous year where all the economic activities were stable. So, one year in which the economy was stable is considered as a base year. Similarly, which year's quantity should we consider? Again, the question is whether it should be of current year or whether it should be of base or constant year. So yes, my dear students, I want to find out national income for the year 2021. Tell me which prices should I consider, which quantity should I consider? And majority of y'all would have said that, sir, since you are talking about current year, prices should be of the current year, quantity should be also of the current year. And that, my dear students, is the wrong answer. Because prices can never be taken of the current year. Why? Because if you take the prices of the current year, can I say that they can be inflated or deflated? There are many fluctuations in the current year in the prices of the commodity. So beta, the price is never of the current year. Prices are always taken at base year. Now moving to the quantity side. Now will you consider current year quantity or base year? If you answered current year, then lovely. Because if you take the prices also of the base year, quantity also of the base year, then my dear students, how will you find national income for the current year? If you want to find national income for current year, then at least one variable should be such which is of the current year, no? Now prices we've ruled out. Prices cannot be taken of current year. Why? Because they can be inflated, deflated, there can be many fluctuations, so we cannot take current year prices. Yes or no? Yes. So prices are very clear, they should be of the base year. Now if you take the quantity of the base year, then how will you find current year's national income? Because to find out current year's national income, at least one variable should be of the current year, no? And anyway, can I say that economic growth is the rise in output? So if you want to find out national income for the current year, then you should take the quantity of the current year. So over here, my dear students, can I say national income is equal to price of base year multiplied by the quantity of current year. Now there might be certain students who might still not agree. Sir, why are we not taking current year prices only? So let me explain that as well. Over here I'll just add the word current year. Now beta, this national income is called as real national income. Now what if you take the prices also of the current year, quantity also of the current year, then what will happen beta? Then it is possible to measure. I am not denying. National income is equal to price of current year multiplied by quantity of current year. So in this example, we are considering the prices also of the current year, quantity also of the current year. When you find such kind of national income, it is called as nominal national income. Now why is this called as nominal national income? Because the prices are of the current year which may be inflated, and that is the reason why it is called as nominal national income. So my dear students, after understanding these two concepts, tell me, national income should be considered at which year prices? Current year, which are inflated, or base year, which is stable? How would you like your economy? Inflated, deflated, fluctuating, or a stable economy? So if you want to get the correct estimates, you should consider real national income. I hope I am making sense. Now let us move to the next concept, that is national income at market price or national income at factor cost. So first of all, we need to understand what is market price and what is the factor cost, because market price and factor cost are not the same. So let us take an example. For example, there is a producer who is producing liquor and his factor cost is rupees 100. Now what is factor cost? Factor cost is the cost of factors of production. I repeat, what is factor cost? It is the cost of factors of production. Didn't understand? No problem. What are factors of production? Land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. What will they get in the form of return? They will get rent, they will get wages, they can earn interest, and very important part, beta, factor cost includes profit. I repeat, factor cost includes the profit. So this 100 rupees of factor cost is inclusive of the profits which are earned by the entrepreneur. Yes or no? Lovely. Plus, can I say, will the government allow the producer to sell this at 100? because it is a demerit good. Can I say the government does not want people to consume liquor? So it will discourage people by adding indirect taxes which will make its market price go up. So beta, the government has added 30 rupees of indirect tax and your market price becomes 130 rupees. Now my dear students, think and answer. At what price should we consider our national income? Should we consider at market prices or should we consider it at factor cost? So the question over here is, can I say that indirect taxes are paid to the government? The consumers or the producers are going to pay it to the government, and this payment made to the government is a transfer payment. A yes or no? Now tell me, can we include transfer payment in our national income? So beta, we had done a concept called as earned income, unearned income, yes or no, two-way income, one-way transaction. Now let us take an example. Suppose if your father is earning 1 lakh rupees, this 1 lakh rupees is earned by your father, and as soon as your father receives this money, he gives the entire 1 lakh rupees to your mother. Now, can I say this is a mere transfer from your father to your mother? So, does that mean that our national income is 2 lakh rupees? Just because the father has given the money to the mother, does it mean that our national income has doubled? No. So beta, this example explains you that unearned income should not be calculated, because unearned income is a transfer payment and unearned income can lead to double counting. That income which is counted twice, thrice or multiple times in the national income is called as double counting. So my dear students, over here as well, can I say that the amount which is transferred to the government, has government created any good, service? Has government helped the manufacturer in producing liquor? The answer is no. The government has not helped. So, is this income supposed to be included in national income? No. So beta, market price includes indirect tax. That means we should never measure national income at market price, because indirect taxes are included which are unearned, and unearned income cannot be included in national income. Therefore, can I say that national income should be measured at factor cost and not at market price, because indirect taxes are unearned by the government. Chalo, let us take another example. Suppose if there is somebody who produces medicines, his factor cost is for example 200. Now the government does not want this to be priced at this level of 200. So what does the government say? That please sell it in the market at 150 rupees. So how much is the cost incurred by the manufacturer? Chalo, tell me. How much is the cost incurred? 200 rupees. This 200 rupees includes rent, wages, interest, profits. Yes or no? So what will the producer do? Will he reduce his profit margin? Will he ask his laborer to take less money? Will he go to the landlord and say, see, government is asking me to sell it at 150, so you please take lesser rent from me? No. Then who will bear the loss? Beta, the government will compensate the producer by giving him a subsidy. Now, what is a subsidy? Subsidy is a grant given by the government to the manufacturer. So, over here, I my cost of producing medicines is 200, but I am selling it at 150. So this 50 rupees is given to me by the government. So government gives it to the producer. Now, has the government given this money to the producer out of love, care, affection? Nonsense. Government is giving it to the producer because he has worked for it, because he has produced goods worth rupees 200. So beta, when the government is giving it to the producer in the form of a subsidy, is it a transfer payment? No, it is not a transfer payment. It is earned and therefore it is included in national income. So my dear students, again, will you calculate national income at market price, which is 150 rupees? No, you will calculate it at 200 rupees because goods worth rupees 200 were produced. Sir, then why didn't we consider 130 rupees over here? Because were the goods worth 130? The value of the goods was 100. 30 was the indirect tax charged. So, beta, as I had written earlier also, national income therefore should be always measured at factor cost. Now what if you are at market price and you have to reach factor cost? Can I say, students, that please look over here, market price includes indirect tax, market price excludes the subsidies? Yes or no? I repeat, market price includes indirect tax and excludes the subsidy. But that is wrong. Indirect taxes are unearned, so they should be excluded, and subsidies are earned, so they should be included. And that is the very reason, my dear students, that we consider factor cost, because factor cost will include subsidy and exclude indirect taxes. Let us see how. Let us assume that the market price for a particular commodity is market price and we have to reach at factor cost. So you will deduct whatever is unearned minus indirect tax. You will add subsidies, then you will get your factor cost. So beta, as I told you above also, over here if you want to calculate, can I say you are at market price, you have to go to factor cost. 130 is the market price. If you deduct indirect taxes of 30 rupees, you will get your factor cost of 100. Similarly, if over here the market price is 150, the factor cost is 200. How do you reach to 200? By adding the subsidies of 50 rupees. So the question still remains. I have explained earlier, I'll explain it once again. Why are indirect taxes excluded? Because they are unearned. Why are subsidies included? Because they are earned. And we will always measure national income at factor cost. I hope I am clear with this concept of market price and factor cost. Now, dear students, let us understand the concepts in measurement of national income. Concepts in measurement of national income. So we all have heard the concept of GDP, gross domestic product. GDP at market price is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Now you all must be wondering, sir, what is this C plus I plus G plus X minus M? Beta, C stands for consumption goods or consumption expenditure. I stands for investment goods or investment expenditure. G stands for government goods or government's expenditure. X stands for your exports. M stands for your imports. So beta, when you measure GDP at market price, it is the money valuation of all the consumer goods, investment goods, government goods, exported goods, imported goods. This is nothing else but the GDP, which is popularly known as national income in a layman's language. But we just now studied, do we want to measure national income at market price? No. We want to measure the national income at a factor cost. So the next formula is GDP at factor cost. What is the formula? C plus I plus G plus X minus M minus IT plus S, because from market price, if you want to go to factor cost, then you need to deduct indirect taxes and add subsidies. A yes or no? Understanding or not understanding? If you all are understanding, say a lovely, superb. Now, beta, can I say that can be a shortcut formula to this one as well? What is the shortcut formula? I can write this as GDP at market price minus IT plus S, because C plus I plus G plus X minus M is common in both the formulas. So this C plus I plus G plus X minus M is nothing else but GDP at market price. So what is the difference? Minus IT plus S. Okay, moving ahead. Now all these formulas are for domestic product. But today, is our economy a domestic economy? The question is, does India produce only in India? Domestic means within the country. National means outside the country. So beta, today are we an economy which produces only within the country? No. So today we have become a national economy. GNP, gross national product at market price, is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P. Now beta, X minus M is for goods, R minus P is for services, because goods can be imported and exported, but services are rendered or taken. So we never say that services are exported. Services are given or taken. So for services, we have receipts minus payments. Now, is it necessary that I take lectures only in India? No. I might get an opportunity to probably take a lecture in, say for example, US, Canada, Uganda. I don't know, some country might offer me a lecture there. And if I go there for purpose of taking a lecture, will I give them 1001, take from me? No, I will take from them and bring it in India. So it will be India's receipts. And similarly, if some teacher comes to India from abroad, gives his teaching services and goes back, then we will have to make a payment to that teacher. And therefore, I have written R minus P. Over here also, we can have a shortcut formula. Now, what can be that shortcut formula? Can I say this X minus M, C plus I plus G plus X minus M is common here? So I can write down GDP at market price plus R minus P, that is receipts minus payments. I hope I am clear with that. Now, but again, we have calculated it at what price beta? Market price. We all know we should be calculating it at factor cost. So the next one is GNP at factor cost is equal to, chalo everybody, C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P minus IT plus S. Sir, why did you deduct indirect tax? Because we are at factor cost. Factor cost is the cost of the factors of production. Indirect taxes are unearned, so excluded. Subsidies are earned, so included. Yes, my dear students. Now, moving ahead, all the formulas that you see over here are in the form of gross value, yes or no? All the formulas are which value? Gross value. But beta, what is the definition of national income? The definition of national income says that it should be the net value of the goods and services produced. Yes or no? So, let me go over here and write down net domestic product at market price. So, instead of finding the gross value, now we are supposed to find the net value. What is the difference between gross value and net value? If the gross value is 10,000 and if the net value is 8,000, the difference is 2,000, which is nothing else but your depreciation. Yes, my dear students. So, the formula will be C plus I plus G plus X minus M minus depreciation. As simple as that. Sir, why didn't you add R minus P? Arre beta, R minus P will be a part of national product, not a domestic product. Yes or no? The next concept, NNP, rather NDP at factor cost. Now, what is NDP at factor cost? It is C plus I plus G plus X minus M minus IT plus S minus depreciation. Because when you are calculating the net product, you need to deduct depreciation. When you are calculating factor cost, you need to deduct IT and add subsidies. The next concept, chalo students, are you all with me? Are you all able to understand? How's the Josh? Hi sir. So, can I say the next concept will be NNP at market price. We don't want gross, we want net. We don't want domestic, we want national. So, what will be the formula? The formula will be C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P minus depreciation. Yes or no? Because from domestic we have shifted to national. So, I added R minus P. Yes, my dear students. Now, tell me, even can we consider this as national income? The answer is no. We still cannot consider this as our national income. Why? Because I understand we didn't want gross, we got net. Okay. We don't want domestic, we want national. Okay. Do we want market price? No. We want a factor cost. So the next formula is NNP at factor cost. Now, what is the formula for NNP at factor cost? It is C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P minus IT plus S minus depreciation. And this, my dear students, is nothing else but the concept of national income. So, all laymen out there will say that GDP is our national income. But all you lovely economists out there will say that NNP at factor cost is the national income. Because we want the net value, not the gross value. Because we want the domestic value. No, we want the national value. Because we don't want market price, we want factor cost. So, my dear students, what are the formulas? GDP at market price is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Chalo, everybody with me. Next one, GDP at factor cost is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M minus IT plus S. GNP at market price, not domestic but national, C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P, because services are rendered outside the nation. Then what is GNP at factor cost? C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P minus IT plus S. But do we want it at gross value? Nah, we want it at national, or rather net value. So the next formula is NDP at market price, C plus I plus G plus X minus M minus D. I did not take R minus P because we are still a domestic economy. NDP at factor cost is the next concept. C plus I plus G plus X minus M minus IT plus S. Yes or no? Are we clear? Minus depreciation, you should not forget, because we are finding the net domestic product. The next one, net national product, C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P minus depreciation. But all these formulas will not give me what I want. Gross, no. Net, yes. Domestic, no. National, yes. Market price, no. Factor cost, yes. So NNP at factor cost, yes, my dear students, everybody. C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus R minus P minus IT plus S minus D, and this, my dear students, is your national income. Are we clear? Say yes. Say it loudly. Wonderful. Now, just to give you a bit more clarity, chalo, you have to answer this. Do we want gross value? No, sir. We want which value? Net value. So you should deduct depreciation. Do you want a domestic value? No, sir. We want a national value. So you should add receipts minus payments. So this receive minus payments is called as NFIA, net factor income from abroad. So all the factors of production who go abroad and get the money, receipts. All the factors of production from other country than India who take away the money, payments, which is called as NFIA. Then, do we want to measure national income at market price? Nah. We want to measure it at a factor cost. Therefore, can I say in market price, indirect taxes are included, subsidies are excluded. So when you calculate factor cost, it should be minus indirect tax, add your subsidies. Yes or no? Now, minus IDT plus IDT minus S is considered as NIT, net indirect taxes. So if you want to find out factor cost, you should deduct net indirect taxes. Now what is the formula for net indirect taxes? It is plus indirect tax minus subsidy. Now you open this bracket, what will you see? Minus IDT, minus will become plus subsidy. That is exactly what I had written over here as well. So my dear students, is GDP at market price or national income? No, it is net national product at factor cost, which is our national income. So I hope this concept is crystal clear with everyone. Now, where are you going to make all these adjustments? Beta, these adjustments will be made in the base formula. Now, what is the base formula? C plus I plus G plus X minus M. If you see all the 8 formulas above, can I say C plus I plus G plus X minus M common? In all the 8 formulas, what is common? C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Then what is the difference? Can I say these are the 3 adjustments that you are supposed to make? while estimating national income. So my dear students, I hope you all have definitely understood each and every concept taught in the chapter of national income. Let me go to one small such concept, which is by the name of circular flow of national income. Have you all heard? Have you all heard the concept of circular flow of national income? Yes, sir, we have heard about it. So, beta, how many sectors are we talking about? When we discuss the circular flow of national income, we discuss about two sectors. One is the household sector and other is the business firm or the business sector. Yes, my dear students, are you all able to see this very clearly? Are you all able to understand? Can you recollect certain concepts which you have done earlier? If yes, lovely. Now, when I talk about this concept over here, I can say that households are the providers of factors of production. Household is that sector which provides land, labor, capital, entrepreneur to the business firm, and in return business firm will make them a factor payment. That will be in the form of rent, wages, interest and profits. So beta, what is the flow that you see right now? Households will give factors of production, but business firm will give factor payments to the household. Now is that it? Over? Finish? No. Now with the help of these factors of production, the business firm will give goods and services to the household, because these factors of production will produce, and these produced goods will be consumed by the household sector. Will they give it for free? No, sir. Household sector will have to make a payment. So, the household sector will be involved in the expenditure on goods and services. So, this, my dear students, is the circular flow of national income. On one hand, household sector gives factors of production to business firm. With those factors of production, business firm will give goods and services to the household. Now, the household has to make a payment to the business firm for the goods and services. And whatever money that the household gives to the business firm, can the business firm keep the entire money with itself? No. The business firm will have to give factor payments. So dear students, can I say that you can see probably two circles in this diagram? The inner circle, rent, wages, interest, profit. Can I say this is income for the factors of production? This is expenditure for the household. So in the inner circle, we observe something called as money flow. What is this flow, beta? This is the money flow. Sir, if inside there is money, what is rotating on the outside? Beta, can you see money outside, or it is physical things, real things? It is the factors of production and the goods and services. So beta, the outer flow in this diagram represents real flow. Now, there can be incidences where you may see that the money flow is drawn outside and the real flow is drawn on the inside. It doesn't matter. As long as you are able to cover the money flow concept and the real flow concept, nothing else matters more than that. Now, my question to you is, which flow matters? Out of money flow and real flow, which flow matters? So all those students who have said that money flow matters is unfortunately wrong. Why? Because if there is a real flow, there will be automatically a money flow. What is real flow? Goods and services, factors of production. So if there are goods and services, if there are factors of production, the rise in goods and services will lead to a rise in the money flow na. So real flow will automatically give birth to money flow. But does the same thing happen with money flow? Will money flow give birth to real flow automatically? No. Money flow can increase due to the rise in prices also. The flow of money in the economy can rise. If a 100 rupee commodity is now worth rupees 150, so from 100 rupees the prices have increased to 150 rupees, the money flow has increased to 150. But does it guarantee you a rise in the output? No, my dear students. So, out of real flow and money flow, which flow matters more? It is the real flow which matters more than the money flow. Real flow will automatically give birth to money flow. If output rises, the flow of money will definitely rise. But if money flow rises, not necessarily it is due to the rise in the output. So my dear students, in the circular flow of national income, there are two sectors, household and the business firm. In this circular flow, we have studied two flows, money flow and real flow. Now one important thing that you should notice over here, can I say that rent, wages, income, interest, profit is income. Over here you can see that there is an expenditure, and goods and services is nothing else but output. So beta, what can I conclude over here? Can I say again that income is equal to expenditure is equal to output? And beta, these are the three methods of measuring national income. This is exactly what I had done at the start of the lecture, where I explained you income is equal to expenditure is equal to output, and this is exactly where I am ending my lecture, where I have again proved that income is equal to expenditure is equal to output. So my dear students, I really hope that all the concepts are absolutely clear in your minds. I hope that national income is no more a pain for you, but a lot of joy. Thank you so much.